Hey, it's Emma Romano here, founder of the Thrive and Life Foundation, self-healing coach, and the midwife to your personal alchemy.
I am Kelly Bowen, founder of the Heaven Within Foundation, CEO of Lifestyle Finance Australia, finance expert, life and business coach.
And you are listening to Inspired Conversations,
where we talk about the things that really matter. Yes, we go there.
We share together what's exciting us, inspiring us, and having the most profound impact on our lives and our clients' lives. And we do this to elevate and inspire you.
We cover it all from life, body, love, relationships, trauma healing, addictions, business, money, and all things woo-woo.
So sit back, relax,
and get ready to be inspired and laugh the fuck out loud.
Welcome, everybody. This is Emma Romano and the gorgeous
Kelly Bowen, and you are listening to
Inspired Conversations. We never really get that right when we say it together.
No, even when we're trying to record the intro. You'll do work on that. Our phones are a little off.
Hang on, Kel. I'm about to do a great leeway. I marvel at people who do those things together.
Oh, babe. We were literally just to cue in on why this word marvel has been dropped. That we were having a conversation before we jumped on about how there are certain purposes that souls incarnate into this physicality to have very specific experiences. And there's one particular area of life, one M specializes in helping people have really great versions of this. And for me, my whole life experience has been unfolding, and my growth and soul expansion has been happening through the reflections of relationships. And we're just talking about how some people, they've been gifted a really easy path through relationships and obviously challenged in other areas of life, but the path through the relationship is they meet their soulmate in their early 20s and they fall madly in love and everything just works and it's loving, of course, ups and downs, but they're loving throughout the entirety of the relationship. They have great sex and great kids and everything in that area of life is just easy. And I was saying to her, I was like, part of me is almost envies this, but is baffled and confused. And I'm like, but these aren't the right words. I know there's a word that encompasses all of it. And as the conversation went on, I was like, that's it. I marvel at them. I look at them like these mythical unicorns. How the fuck do you do that so effortlessly? And then we were conversation evolved into I guess people look at us a little bit like that with business. It's just part of who we are. It's so easy and natural for us to express ourselves this way. And then Em was sharing a little story about, actually, I'll let you take this bit, go. You know where you're going to go.
My brothers-in-laws?
Yeah, your husband's brothers-in-laws. That's it.
Yeah, so we're sitting here because my brother and sister-in-law tomorrow, we're just talking about our weekend. And tomorrow I'm celebrating my brother and sister-in-law's 25th wedding anniversary. And they're young, they're 47, so 25 years. So they met, Mars and Rose met at uni, and just fell in love, knew it, bang, got married, I think at 22 or something. And that's when Kelly's gone, oh my God, what's their relationship like? Are we celebrating a good relationship? I'm like, absolutely, beautiful relationship. There's never been. And then I stopped and I thought about so my husband's one of four men, four brothers, and all four of the brothers have all met their girlfriends, their wives very early, so very young 20s, and gotten married to that woman and very happy. I mean, there's stuff. I mean, it's not always roses all the time, but there's never been infidelity or disloyalty or anything like that. It's just been the normal stuff, especially when you have kids, right? So when you're exhausted and you're freaking out, or when you've got a parent who's dying or something, things have gone on. But I'm like, hang on, all four of the men, how amazing is that? I mean,
incredible.
I know, they've all met their wives. I mean, Anthony's 7 years younger than me. So we met when he was 24 when we met. And I was 31, and cougar.
Well, at that point, they would have called you a puma. You don't get cougar stage until I think you hit your 50s. I Googled it once.
Really?
Yeah.
I can go with that. And then, we met. I was his first girlfriend. and we got married. So yeah, and it's like, and it's amazing. All four of us, we all have beautiful relationships, and we're very solid. Like they're really great. We're all very good for each, like each couple are very good for each other. It's really beautiful. I'm thinking, damn, you guys are good. Like, because they must have done some really great work in previous lives, let me tell you. They must have done all the relationship work.
Because when you, like, even if you look, it's not like their family has been overly immersed into personal development from like the original coding, have they? It's just something that it's part of their frequency, which I guess is a really awesome segue into what we want to talk about today, which is your divine masculine experience from your trip in Egypt, because this is really part two of that conversation.
Oh, my whole body just went into tingles again when you said it.
I had the tingles the whole time on the last episode when you were sharing your story.
I know. It's just incredible. So I've been home now for 1 week and 1 day for my incredible experience. And like people keep saying to me, how was your holiday? It was not a holiday. Let me just put that to you. So I spent nearly 2 weeks in Egypt, a week in Jordan. It was 27 days all up, a week in Jordan and a week in Israel. And it wasn't a holiday. It was an experience. It was a journey. It was a spiritual journey. There was a lot of energy work that I did there. I did a lot of healing on a lot of animals while I was there, on the land. It was very, very beautiful. In fact, there is, no, I'm not going to tell you that story because it's kind of crazy, but no, I'm going to say it. There was a place in Alexandria, and I've forgotten the name of it. Oh my God, I cannot believe I forgot the name. It's where the whole World War II thing happened, and there was all these countries there. It was so sad, and there was thousands of soldiers who couldn't go home, and they buried them there. And we went to the site where they have honored these amazing soldiers, and there was, you know, there's a whole Australian site, and there was a 16-year-old boy who had obviously lied about his age to get into the war, and he had passed. Anyway, I'm in this graveyard, and I've got to tell you, when people pass, you got to understand their animals will sit with them. So there was a lot of horses, spirits of the horses wandering around this Alamein, thank you, wandering around Alamein, because they're looking for their owners. But not only that, a lot of the horses were brought over from overseas, so they don't know how to get home.
Oh my God.
And when you're a horse and you're told exactly what to do, you're told when to eat, you're told when to rest, you're told when to walk, you're told when to gallop. You're even told what you can and can't look at, because they put those side things. So when you are completely controlled and you are surrendering yourself completely to one person, and that person passes, that horse doesn't know what to do.
Oh my God, of course.
So they're waiting for that owner to come and just let them know. So the light is there, but they won't go to the light because they don't know, no, you have, my owner hasn't told me to go to the light. So I had to do a lot of work there and actually call in the spirit of the owner of the horse to tell them, can you tell the horse to go through, to tell the horse it's okay. And it was quite sad because there were, hang on, I'm getting emotional. This is the mother in me. I cry all the time when I think of sons, right? There was a lot of young men, and Australian men and New Zealand men, because that's the section I was in, and they're just wandering around going, when's mum going to come and get me?
Oh my God.
Oh, I want to cry. And they're like, you know, they did this for their country. Some of them were made to go. Some of them wanted to go. Some of them lied about their age. But they're like, where's mum? When's mum going to come and get me? You know, and then you can sit in that space of a mother who's sitting in the middle, you know, of anywhere. And I know I'm just referring to Australia. This is mothers and fathers everywhere, but you know, they're losing their sons and their husbands to a war, and they don't know if they're ever going to get them back. You know, and it was horrendous. I also went into the energy of that land, and the camaraderie was amazing. Like, I know we think war is all horrendous and everything. Also, those men had a really great time. Because I went in the energy, they got the Germans, the Italians, the Polish, and actually quite often of an evening, they're all in their little camps, they would hang out together. And then they would fight each other during the day. Then they'd hang out and they'd fight each other during the day. So there was actually a lot of moral conflict. They didn't quite know what they were fighting for. There was a lot of confusion. So I had to do a lot of work around. I had to do a lot of energy work and bring in a lot of really deep, divine masculine energy for these young men, just so they could go into the next life, feel at home, find a place where they can feel at ease with, instead of hanging around Alamein, which they were probably only living for 3 months of their entire year, but they're stuck in this space. So they could go home. And it was really beautiful, which then goes in the leeway. Then we went into Jordan about 5-6 days after that. And that's when I met Moses, the prophet Moses.
Wow.
And it was such a surprise for me, because Egypt, you know, when we signed up for this experience, it was Egypt, Jordan, Israel. And Jordan, I didn't know much about, to be honest. Ignorant, I know, but I didn't know much about it. And I didn't research. I kind of wanted it to be a little surprise for me. So Egypt I knew about, Israel I knew a lot about, because it's the birthplace of Christ, of Jesus. Mary's there, Sinan, you know, Joseph, all them. And I love all these ascended masters that it came from that time. I've always worked with Mary and Sinan since I think I was about 8 or 9 years of age. Anyway, and the Jesus energy. So I'm in where, got the name of it. Sorry, I'm fucking useless at names. I'm remembering stuff like that.
It's okay.
I will remember energies, but I don't remember names or dates. So I'm in this place where Moses was leading leading his people, and they weren't safe. So he was trying to find a land for them, him and all his people, to keep safe, so he could keep healing, preaching, and serving the word of God, right? Telling people there's something bigger and better than us. Don't worry, there is abundance. We have everything. You know, if you want water, there's water. They're in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere in the desert, right? So he goes to this king and he says, this in Jordan, he said, can we please stay here? They go, nah, get out. He goes, look, we need to stay here because we are getting hunted down and we're dying. They went, yeah, look, you think you're this great guy. Make sure, give us some water in the desert here. And he goes, okay. If I show you water, if I create water for you in this desert, will you let us stay here and will you keep us safe? And will you please let me help these people and give them hope and love and let me lead them? Sure. Gets his big staff, his big stick, bang, hits it into a rock and creates this beautiful spring, natural spring water. And I can't remember if it was 7 or 9 spots. I think it's 7. He has 7 natural springs that he created. So he was able to stay there, and they built this monastery there. So we have gone to this monastery, and, you know, this is like thousands of years ago. They've built a second monastery because the first one was ruined. So they've kind of kept some of it, some of the mosaics, so you can walk on there. Anyway, I've gone to the front to the altar. I've knelt down and I'm just saying, now there are hundreds of people there. There's all these tour buses. You've got to get this right. There's lots and lots of people there. There's lots of people who go on the Holy Land journey. So I'm just kneeling in quiet reflection, quiet prayer. And so let me go back first. My husband, Anthony, is one of the greatest supporters of what I do. Now, when I first started getting deep into this spirituality, it was very scary for him. He didn't get it. He doesn't probably really understand it now, but he's surrendered to understanding it, and he's surrendered to, I'm going to support you through it, which is absolutely beautiful. So he knows when I'm going into, he knows when my soul or my spirit has left my three-dimensional body. Right? So I can sit here. I can't really have conversations with you when it happens. I look very glazed, and I can sort of say yes or no, but I'm not comprehending what you're saying. So I kind of go out of my body and I go somewhere. But I'm breathing. My unconscious mind is keeping my body alive. I'm fully functional, right? So he knows when this happens. I don't know what he sees. I should ask him, actually. Why didn't I ask him? I don't know. And he puts his hand. He is this big, beautiful, 6-foot Italian man, hot as fuck, big hands, those big, strong, thick hands. They're manly hands. And he puts his hand right in the center of my angel wings on my back. But his hand literally does the whole span of my back, right? And he holds me. He doesn't lightly touch me. He holds me. He's got me. And so I know no matter where we are, I can go, my man has got me. I can now travel and do what I've got to do. Because I know I'm just a conduit to help this world, right? So I do it, you know, Kel and I, you and I do this every day, right? So next thing, I'm just transported out, and I'm on, because this is on top of a mountain, this monastery. So I go out and it's quiet. There's no one there. It's just empty. And I'm standing there. And next thing, hang on, I get really emotional talking about it. Moses is standing there and he just holds me. I can tell you exactly what the man smells like. He smells like sandalwood, earth, and cardamom. He is clean, yet those smells. He is slim, tall, toned. He held me. So my face was in the nook sort of his armpit and chest. That's where my face was, right? So I was on his right-hand side, actually. Yeah. And I had the right-hand side of my face and the right-hand side of his like shoulder. Yeah. What do you call that bit? I'm pointing to it.
That's your pec.
Your pec. Thanks. All right. So I had it in there just for the listeners so they know what's going on. And he's holding me. And it was just this most divine masculine energy. What is divine masculine energy? Divine masculine energy is a leader, a protector, a way shower, someone who's extremely loyal, and they're a provider. And that's exactly what Moses did. He was a leader. He was massively a provider because he would create all kinds of, water and, food, all sorts of stuff. He was very loyal. He was a protector. It was the divine masculine. And he just said to me, Emma, you got one job. Know you're always safe. And I cry when I hear that, because I think innately, so many of us think that we're not safe. We think that we're judged all the time and we're never enough and we're never doing enough, which means we're not safe. We're not safe in his here and now. And I think in that moment, I'm crying because it's such gratitude. It was so beautiful. In that moment, there was nothing else in the world but this moment. And he said to me, when you get off your knees from the monastery, I want you to come out to this spot and I've got something for you. And I went, it goes, kneel down and pick up this rock. I went, okay, I will. He goes, because I want you to remember this space. I want you to remember that every man in them has the divine masculine. Every man has a divine masculine. You're just choosing not to see it.
Oh, wow, snap.
So I come back, right? I'm back in my body. I've got Anthony's hand on my back. I'm like, oh my God, who have I got holding me? The divine fucking masculine. My man, my fucking man. Now, let me tell you about Anthony. Anthony and I was never the divine feminine energy. He was never divine masculine energy, which is a centered masculine, centered feminine. I was actually very distorted masculine energy. I was a control freak. He was very lost. He was actually very feminine energy, as in he would just do as he was told. You know, he was very disowned. And we've done a lot of work on ourselves individually and together. We still do all the time. And it's amazing. We find the best work that we do for ourselves is when we're in a good space. This is a big top tip to people. When you're in a good space, don't just get mentoring and help when you're in a shit space. Get it when you're in a good space. It's like asking for money when you're broke or working on your business when you're broke. Work on your business when you're starting to manifest big money. Work on your business even more then, right? Work on your relationship when you're in a good space as well. So before we went away for this month together, Anthony and I actually did massive growth work for a month leading up because we had a month together. And that was going to be the longest time we've ever spent together alone because I had the boys before I met Anthony.
Wow, that's insane. How many years of marriage?
We've been married. We actually celebrated our 13th wedding anniversary there, and we've been together 19 years.
Wow, and that's the longest you've had alone.
Yeah.
Wild.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had no buffer. We had no distraction, and we're together 24/7. It's not like I can go off and go, hey, babe, I've got to go see a client. Or he can go, yeah, babe, I've got to go to work. It's nothing. It's just here now. 24/7. So we were like, we're in a great space. We have the most delicious, amazing, fucking amazing relationship. We're like, right, let's make it even better before we go. Right? Let's make sure, let's make it even better. And it was incredible. That's why I say it wasn't a holiday. It was a journey. It was experience of me trusting and allowing him to be in his divine masculine, which means I had to fall into my beautiful divine feminine energy. So Moses, I go out, right? So I go outside. So he said to me, you know, remember how Moses said to me, I want you to go outside into the spot that I was holding you. And when, I got to tell you, when Moses was holding me, there was nothing sexual about it. There was nothing weird about it. It was just this beautiful holding. And it really, you know what? If anybody's sitting there saying, I feel lonely, you've shut yourself off to your highest self. You've shut yourself off to source. Come back to God or source or whatever you call it, to unicorns, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter what you want to call it because it's all the same shit, right? It's all the same stuff. It is the highest frequency. It is the all-knowing. And when you come out of that whole, it's like I look at, I don't know if many people know Moses' story. I really don't. I only know the highlights of it, you know, the stuff that you learn at Catholic school, that he did this and he did this. The guy was in constant turmoil pretty much every day trying to protect and lead and make the world a better way and take people away from war, where he's got people who just wants to fucking fight him, you know. And he's like, no, there's no fight. There's no fight with God. If you've got a God that's telling you that you have to fight for me, you've got a weak God.
It's not a God.
That's right.
The false God.
That's right. Exactly. 100%. 100%. There's no fight. It's when people say, I've got an army of angels. You don't have an army because there's no fight.
I have a flock of angels.
That's right. You have a flock of angels. You might have a fuck ton, but you don't have an army. You don't have an army of spirits, you know, looking out, because there's no fight. There is no fight there. And this is where we got to come out. And this is the part where we've got, even when shit goes bad for us in this lifetime, we've got to stop saying, you know, I'm going to fight my way to health. You will not get healthy if you're fighting something. You've got to surrender to the health, not fight for the health. If you fight for the health, you will always come up against a fight. Resistance. If you surrender to the health, it'll just flow to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the reason our bodies are so inflamed and got so much shit and we're holding on to crap, is because our nervous system is on fire. And this is when Moses just held me. It was like my whole nervous system just, it was beautiful. It was like centuries and millions of years of angst just sitting in my nervous system just dissolved. So going back, right? I'm on my knees. I come back into my body. Anthony's got his hand on my back. I stand up. Anthony looks at me and goes, "You okay?" I went, "I'll be back." So he knows, right? She's on a mission. Anthony's beautiful, right? So he goes, "Okay." So I think Anthony's just going to be sitting in the church waiting for me. So Anthony actually follows me out. So he knows that I'm okay, because we're in a different country, by the way. Right, all right. So he's just keeping his eye on me to make sure I'm safe. I don't know he's there. And I go to this spot and it's on top of the mountain. There's people everywhere, because in my vision, there was no one there. But, you know, in reality, everyone's there. And I go to this spot. I don't overthink it. First off, I wanted to go, "Oh, is this the spot?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, Emma. Don't be a dickhead. Just go to any spot. It's going to be perfect." And I just stand there and I kneel down and I get this rock. Yes, I did take this rock from Jordan. I did not tell customs, "Don't drop me in." Right? And it is just a rock.
On Spotify or iTunes, you can see this rock on YouTube.
Yes. So I get this rock and it is a beautiful rock. It is just a rock. And I thumb it. And what I mean by is I rub my thumb, the pad of my thumb on this rock, and it takes me straight back to Moses with that divine masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've met Moses, I have had the most incredible respect, gratitude, deep love for the men I know. You know, and last night we celebrated my son's 21st birthday party, Jack, and it was beautiful. We didn't have many people. He doesn't like parties, so he just wanted immediate family, which we did. And he had 4 of his mates there. And I'm just looking at this kid, this fucking kid, he's 21. He's my kid, all right? And he's mommy's little boy, right? I look at this boy, I look at this 21-year-old kid, and I'm looking at him going, "You've got 4 amazing friends. They've all been through so much together, and they are all in their divine masculine. Everyone here is amazing. And everybody is just given the opportunity to be seen in their divine self, and to see themselves in the divine self is safety."
Yeah.
It's safety. It's taking out the judgment, or I need to be this, or I have to be that, or I've got to be this, or I've got to be that. No, you don't. You just got to feel safe within yourself and know that you are. Every single one of us is divine. And when you know that you're divine, all of a sudden you start dropping off the things that you're doing, or the behaviors and the habits that you're doing and the thought forms that you're doing that are blocking or limiting you in your life right now. So all you need to do is this: sit in your divine energy, because you can't go wrong in divine energy. There is no room for scarcity. There's no room for, "Oh, but I won't have enough. Oh, he won't love me, or she won't love." There's no room for it, because it's all divine. It doesn't exist in it. There is no such thing, because we have to remember we are the creator of our reality. It's huge. And I do want to just leeway it. Since I met Moses, my relationship coaching with my couples has been incredible. And there's two things that I've been asking my clients since, and I want to share it with you, knowing that you create your own reality. So with the couples, usually one person is complaining a lot about the other. And I'll say this to them: what do you need to do to change this relationship without the other person changing at all? So I'm going to say it again, right? What do you need to do for this relationship to be better without that other person changing at all? So the first thing that people say, they go, I need to stop looking at his flaws. Yeah. I need to start appreciating what he does. Yep. And then they start going into the good things about them. It's quite amazing.
Wow.
The second thing, I'm not going to tell you until next podcast.
Okay. So I want to wrap this up with it, because you really mic dropped on the sitting in our divine selves.
Yes.
And I'd like to sort of expand that a little bit for any of our listeners wondering, like, how there was safety and divine self. There was two things that were really rung true through that whole beautiful, magical story. And I want to sort of like leave our listeners with two bits to sort of like help. One, for anybody who's never felt safety in their body, give them a little exercise to help find and start to develop safety, even if it's just starting with feeling comfortable, because continuous feeling comfortable will lead to safety. And then maybe something to actually recognize their divine selves within them. So I know for me, like, safety was a huge thing these last 2 years / 18 months, and something I've been working on very diligently every day.
Yeah.
And when I did Pleasure After Trauma with my amazing friend Freya Varajita, I think is how I pronounce her name, but she had this beautiful safety practice exercise, and I'm going to share it with you very quickly. And this is something that you can do while you're lying in bed every morning to start to develop those feelings and senses of safety while you're in your body, to bring out that divine self. And then we'll leave you something for the divine self. So with safety, find a place where you feel completely comfortable. So for me, every time I do this and develop this within my own body, I'm always lying in my bed. It is like my little sanctuary. It's like this cozy little den where I can just shut off from the world. You see my bedroom now, isn't it? It's like this cozy
bedroom.
Yeah, like upstairs is like this beautiful, open, expansive place, and then downstairs is this cozy little den. It's so lovely.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
But I lie in my bed, and what I do is I feel the weight of my body on the bed, all of my body, from like my heels up the back of my legs, my back, my arms on the bed, like my head and neck rested by the pillow. I feel the weight of the blankets on top of me. If you really want to amp up the safety factor, get more blankets so it's a heavier weighted experience on the body, because this will also, the compression tells the nervous system to switch off. So you can even wrap yourself in the blanket, because the compression around the nervous system tells it to relax. But I just thought the weight of the blanket and feeling the weight of the blanket is enough. And then feeling the warmth in my body, and then orientating myself to the space and feeling myself in the space and the peace of the space, and then allowing those feelings to amplify within my body and expanding it out and out and out. I continue to cultivate and expand this feeling outside of my body, in my body, like through every cell of my body, and continue out into my body, into the space. So not just me within my body feels safe, my whole space feels safe. And then this is the anchoring and the embodiment that I take into the day. And this for me really helps me anchor into my body, into the groundedness, into feeling safe. And now safety isn't so much a thing that I think about. Every now and then it might come up and I go back through this exercise. Mostly though, I feel pretty good in my body these days.
So good. Do you know what I love this? Guys, I really want you to listen to this. I want you to understand that Kelly and I do a lot of work on ourselves all the time. You know, there's no time when we go, okay, we've done the work, that's it, we're all good now. It's not true. There's no destination to your healing journey.
Yeah.
There's not one thing that fits all either. Don't sit there and go, I've tried kinesiology, but it hasn't worked. It has. It's done that bit. You need a lot of different things. Like we have a lot of people looking after us. A lot. Like we try all these different things. And like I literally have 4 different mentors. Kelly's one. Kelly's my business mentor. I have a spiritual mentor. I have an energy mentor, and I have a health mentor. That's 4 freaking mentors that I have. And then I have my kinesiologist. I have 2 different kinesiologists. Then I have a chiropractor. Like we have a lot of people looking after us.
I have the same thing. I have a business mentor. I have an ascension mentor. I have a trauma therapist that I see once a fortnight. I have like Luke, I don't even know what he does. He just does all this magical woo-woo shit.
Yeah, same with Jason, right? I don't even know what Jason does.
Oh my goodness. And I've got a kinesiologist. I have a massage therapist. Like I literally.
Yeah, it's huge.
I'm a full-time project and I'm okay with that.
Oh no, it's great because when we focus on ourselves, that's when we find these things and then we just open up to it and then we can help others. That's why that's what it's for. And you know what? I say this to the people that I teach. When looking for a mentor or you're looking for somebody, who's teaching you something, ask them, when was the last time you learned something? Or when was the last time you had a mentor? And if they say, oh, no, I don't do courses anymore. No, I don't see a mentor. Run for the fucking hills. Do not sign up with that person because they're not into growth.
Or they think they've achieved it.
Yes, and it's bullshit, right? It's bullshit. So there is always room for ascension. So you always ask, when was the last time you did a course? Who's your mentor? Or they may not tell you who their mentor is because they'll be worried that you'll go to their mentor instead of them. So just say, are you being mentored at the moment? Or how many mentors have you got? These are the questions you want to ask them. Yeah. Because if you go to a dentist and you say, hey, what dentist do you go to? And they go, oh, I don't go to a dentist. Would you go to that dentist?
Oh, yeah.
No. If I went to a chiropractor and I go, oh, who's your chiropractor? They go, oh, I don't go to a chiropractor. I'm like, you're not touching my spine then. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So it's the same with energy workers and, people who are working with the unconscious mind and the nervous system. We're energetic beings.
Absolutely. And this is so important. And if you were to give our listeners something to like help them embody their divine self so they've got the safety piece, if they were to, what would you, like in starting to recognize their divine self, like as you mentioned before, like that beautiful truth around when we sit in our divine self, like I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, all of that stuff starts to fall apart. All of the behaviors that we used to do to harm ourselves start to dissipate because we're recognizing that divine self within us. What's something that you could leave our listeners with to help recognize that within themselves?
Start embodying these words. I am divine. I already am divine. It is, if you want to manifest anything, if you want to create anything, you have to sit in the space you already have it. Right? What does it feel like? What does it feel like to be divine? When you're divine just means completely centered. You're present. A great little trick, this is what I teach in Family Freedom Protocol Masters. I get a leaf for everybody. I just pick a leaf off a tree, right? I ask for permission first from the tree because I talk to trees, as you do. And everyone sits and I say, you've got 1 minute. And I just want you to stare at this leaf. I want you to look at the veins. What does it look like to you? Does it look like a road map? Does it look like veins, something else? Like, just what does it look like? Where do you think this leaf has come from? Where do you think it's going? 1 minute. It's not 1 minute. I set a timer for 7 minutes. And we're just all quiet. I said, you cannot take your eyes off the leaf. You just have to keep looking at the leaf. Touch it, feel it. And it completely puts them in alignment. After that 7 minutes, I go, now you've got 1 minute. and touch some part of your body. It could be a knee, it could be a hand. Like if you sit there for 7 minutes or even 1 minute looking at the palm of your hand and just look and just think, like I'm 51 and I can look at the palm of my hand and think of what has that hand been through? How many different jobs? How many people have I hugged with it? How many babies have I held with it? How many times has this hand been the hand that's let someone feel that they're okay? How many times has this hand just touched somebody and that's let them feel good? A million times, probably billions of times.
Crazy when you put it into that context.
It's just your left hand. How many times has your hand patted a dog or a cat and made the cat feel good? How many times has your hand fed an animal or fed a friend or made a cuppa for somebody or passed somebody a glass of water who was really thirsty and really needed you to pass that water to them? You know, it was like a kid, Jack, Ben and I were at the movies the other day and oh God, I felt sorry for this kid. There was a kid there, he would have been about 18 or 19 and all his mates were going to the movies and he went to pay. And the movies was $8 for him and he had 6.
Oh.
And the guy's gone, he goes, I don't have it. And all his mates have gone. And I was standing there, I had my card. It was on my left-hand side. So my left hand had my card and I went, would you mind if I paid your ticket for you? He goes, would you please? And I went, yeah, happy Christmas. And I just tapped it. So my left hand was able to get that kid. It was probably, he might have been 17. He probably his last day of school in year 12 or year 11, and he just had it to go to the movies with his mates. He's broke as fuck.
Yeah.
Right? And so my left hand was able to tap and give this kid $8 fucking dollars. What's $8? $8 is nothing to me. But that to him was a whole fucking experience of connection, release in his nervous system. I'm with my mates. Now he's still got his $6. He might be able to get a Coke or something, you know, at Macca's later on, you know, who knows? But that meant a lot to him, meant nothing to me, but that's at my left hand. Yeah. That's divine. So what has just your left hand done? What has your feet done? Where have your feet walked? Who have you walked towards and hugged?
Oh God, who have you walked with? There's so much in that. I love it.
We are fucking divine. We do so much goodness, but we are taught of all the fucked upness that we do. We're taught that we're not enough. Oh yes, you got an A, but you should have got an A+. Oh, you did well, but you could have done better. That. You got up in the morning, didn't you?
I did. I'm succeeding.
Isn't that enough? Like I look at my kids and go, shit, I've kept you alive for 20 and 21 years. Fucking well done, Dal. I looked at my pot plant this morning and said, shit, you've been alive for 4 years. That's a goddamn fucking miracle. You know, I'm the one who waters it.
Yeah, I get it.
How many plants have you kept alive by watering them?
A lot.
We are all divine. Fall into that. Sit in that. That's how you do it.
What a beautiful episode.
I love you all.
We love you all so much. Please remember, we are not a paid show, so we would love your support in sharing the love. So share, tag a friend, spread us around. You can find us on not Instagram. I don't know why that.
Spotify. YouTube. Something.
We do have an Instagram channel, but you won't find the full episodes there. You'll just find cool little moments. Anyway, we love you. Have a magical morning, day, wherever you are in the world, whatever it is that you're doing. And yeah, look forward to the next episode.
Love you guys. Mwah.
Bye.